Fans are in complete shock as disturbing reports surface that Scrappy may have reached his lowest point. But sources close to the rapper reveal that he's been spiraling ever since Bambi left his life. And now, in a heartbreaking turn of events, he's allegedly attempted to end it all. Whispers of a devastating cry for help have sent shockwaves through the industry, leaving family members scrambling to reach him and fans wondering how it came to this and whether this is really the end for him. Scrappy, and more importantly, will Bambi step in before it's too late? Scrappy has always been known for his ability to bounce back from setbacks. No matter how bad things got, he always managed to get through them. However, this time something was different. The weight of his heartbreak, betrayal, and loneliness finally caught up to him. And now, sources close to the rapper reveal that he may have done the unthinkable. It all began when Bambi, the love of his life, left. Their relationship had been a flurry of passion, fights, and makeup. But this time, the breakup felt permanent. And Scrappy posted a series of Instagram stories, each darker than the last. Fans started to speculate that something was wrong. His friends noticed the change in his behavior. His usual vibrant energy had dimmed. His social media went unusually quiet. And his once lively presence had been replaced with cryptic messages that hinted at his deep emotional turmoil. "I just don't know how to move forward," Scrappy reportedly told a close friend during a late-night conversation. "Everything feels empty without her. Nothing makes sense anymore." Over the course of the last few weeks, Scrappy's behavior has become increasingly erratic. He stopped showing up for studio sessions, missed important meetings, and even ghosted some of his closest friends. The biggest red flag, however, was that he started drinking heavily, something he had once vowed never to do again. His longtime friends who wished to remain anonymous described the moment they realized something was terribly wrong. Within minutes, his followers flooded his DMs with messages of support, urging him to remain strong. But they had no idea that things were far worse than they could have imagined. When I went to check on him, I couldn't recognize him. His house was a complete mess, with bottles all over the place and his blinds closed tightly as if he didn't want to see daylight. His words, "I don't think I can do this anymore. I'm tired, bro. Just want this pain to stop," scared me. I tried to reassure him, but I could see it in his eyes that he wasn't okay. And as the days went by, his family became more and more concerned. His mother, Mama D, was among the first to publicly acknowledge that something was seriously wrong in a heartbreaking Instagram Live session, pleading with fans to send prayers, saying, "You guys, I need you to lift my baby up. I've never seen him this low before, and I'm scared for him." Then came the night that changed everything. According to reports, on a calm evening, Scrappy locked himself in his house and refused to answer calls or texts. His closest friends believed something was seriously wrong. So they drove to his house and banged on the door for him to let them in. But after what seemed like an eternity, one of them decided to call for help because we had no idea what else to do. We were yelling his name, bang on the door, but it was just silent inside. I swear I felt like my heart was going to burst. Everyone was shaken when authorities and paramedics arrived and forced their way inside. They discovered Scrappy unconscious, his body limp on the floor, pills all over him, and a bottle of liquor overturned on the table. It was obvious that this was a desperate cry for help, and medics started working to stabilize him right away, while his friends stood there with frozen tears in their eyes. One of them later admitted that they kept calling his name in the hopes that he would open his eyes. And they were just praying that he would survive as they rushed him to the hospital. The news went viral on social media, with worried fans posting supportive and loving messages, hoping that this wasn't the end. For Scrappy, the real question was whether he would survive. And if he did, if this would be the wake-up call he needed. As he was taken to emergency care, friends and family revealed that he had been spiraling for weeks, but no one had realized how far gone he was. According to one source, he was drowning in his thoughts every day, talking about how he felt like He was not enough, and that no matter what we told him, it was like he couldn't hear us. Doctors tried tirelessly to stabilize him, but the situation was critical. And reports indicated that he had consumed a dangerous combination of substances, making it a race against time and for his loved ones. Those moments felt like forever. Mama D was seen arriving at the hospital in obvious distress, begging the medical staff for updates on her son's condition. Today's heartbreaking story raises a lot of questions, including whether Scrappy will be able to start a new chapter in his life, find a way to live without Bambi, or have his heart forever stuck in this pain. Fans are still worried about the entire situation, and social media is flooded with prayers and support for him. Do you think Scrappy will find the strength to move forward, or is there still hope for him and Bambi to reunite? In the meantime, the news had reached Bambi, and sources said she was devastated despite their rocky history. She had never wanted this for Scrappy, and she was in complete shock. An insider revealed she may not have been with him anymore, but that doesn't mean she stopped caring. She felt guilty, thinking that perhaps if she had handled things differently, he wouldn't have reached this point. Fans were also shaken to their core, and messages of concern with hashtags like #flooded social media. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section below. As the world waited for updates inside the hospital, it was a battle for survival factors, doing everything in their power. However, they made it clear that the next few hours were crucial, because if Scrappy survived, he would have a long road to recovery. If he didn't, the world would be saying goodbye to yet another beloved star far too soon. Pray for Scrappy is trending nationwide, and some celebrities even took to their platforms to express their sadness and send their support. Mental health is real, y'all. We've got to check in on our people praying for Scrappy right now. Like a lifetime, his friends, family, and fans were holding their breath, hoping that Scrappy would wake up, or that this was really the end. His mother, Mama D, sat by his bedside, gripping his hand. Scrappy lay in the hospital bed, his body weak, his mind clouded with pain and regret. The room was eerily silent, save for the rhythmic beeping of the monitors. That child held on tight, as if fearing that letting go would mean losing him forever. Her heart was broken seeing her son in such a vulnerable state, but even as she whispered words of consolation, she knew that this battle was far from over. Following the news of Scrappy's suicide attempt, fans, celebrities, and other artists took to social media to flood the internet with messages of support, concern, and speculation. One post read, and another was more accusatory, asking where Bambi was when he needed her the most. The blame game had started, and fingers were pointing in all directions. Bambi herself had been caught in the storm, and reporters had been hounding her, and her phone was buzzing nonstop with calls and messages. People wanted to know if she had spoken to Scrappy prior to the incident and whether she had any idea how much he was going through. But Bambi remained silent and refused to be drawn into the chaos. She was struggling with her own emotions, and she knew that she couldn't change the past. In the meantime, Scrappy drifted in and out of consciousness, his mind trapped in a whirlwind of memories. Seeing flashes of his life with Bambi, the arguments, the laughter, the love that once burned so brightly but had now turned to ashes. He saw Mama D's worried face, Diamond's panicked expression when she found him, the paramedics racing to save him. And then darkness, a deep abyss that threatened to swallow him whole. Hours turned into days until finally Scrappy started to regain his strength. The emotional scars were much more severe than the physical ones. So a therapist was brought in to help him talk about them and face the pain that had almost overcome him. At first, he resisted answering the questions quickly, with fake laughter and hollow assurances that he was fine, going through a difficult time. But Mama D wasn't a fool. She had witnessed her son's lowest point and knew that pretending wouldn't help him. "You have to let it out. You can't keep holding all that pain inside. It'll eat you up," she said. Scrappy sighed, his eyes glassy with unshed tears. "I just don't know how to do this without her, Mama," she said. Every day feels empty, like I'm just going through the motions." The words lingered in the air, heavy with truth. "It hurts, baby, but you have to find a way to live for yourself. Not for Bambi, not for anyone else, just for you." Scrappy knew she was right, but something in her voice gave him a glimmer of hope, a tiny flicker of light in the darkness. As the days went by, more people came to see him, including his close friends, peers in the industry, and even people he hadn't spoken to in years. All of them had the same message: "We need you here. Scrappy, you matter." The biggest surprise, however, came when Bambi finally entered the hospital. The room fell silent as she entered. Her expression, unreadable. Scrappy's heart thumped in his chest as their eyes locked. He had dreamed of this moment and had envisioned 1,000 possible ways he would respond if he ever saw her again. But now that she was here, words failed him. Bambi took a deep breath before saying, "Scrappy, I never wanted this for you." His voice was hoarse, and when he answered, "Why does it feel like you did?" his words carried years of hurt, love, and longing. She hesitated, then sat next to him. "I believed we were doing what was best for us both, but I never meant for you to feel like this. I never meant for you to..." Her voice broke, and she turned away, blinking back tears. Bambi sighed, looking down, because love shouldn't be toxic. "Scrappy, we were hurting each other, and I didn't know how to fix it." Her words hit him like a punch to the gut, and he wanted to argue and tell her that she was wrong, that they could have found a way. But deep down, he knew she was right, that their love had been passionate but also destructive for a long time. The air between them was thick with unspoken words, unfinished conversations, and a history too complicated to untangle in a single night. As she got up to go, Scrappy felt something shift inside of him, possibly closure, acceptance, or the start of a new chapter where he learned to live for himself, even if it meant learning how to do it without her. Scrappy swallowed hard, his vision blurred by tears. And then Bambi gently squeezed his hand, because healing takes time and you have to let yourself heal. "I don't know what happens next, but I do know one thing. You don't get to give up, Scrappy. You don't get to leave like this." He wasn't okay yet, but for the first time in a long time, he felt that maybe one day he could be Scrappy. He sat in his dark room with the weight of his emotions pressing down on him like a crushing force. His phone was buzzing nonstop with messages from friends, family, and fans. Everyone was worried and asking questions, but none of them could comprehend the emptiness that had consumed him since Bambi left. The once lively Scrappy, who was known for his energy and charisma, was now staring blankly at the walls, drowning in memories of the love he had lost. Mama D had tried everything. She had come to visit, and she had even made Scrappy sit down and talk about his feelings, but nothing seemed to ease his pain. The idea of Bambi going on and living her life without him broke him apart, piece by piece. He had always been a fighter, facing challenges head-on, but this time was different. The pain wasn't a battle he knew how to win. When Scrappy posted a mysterious message on social media, fans and friends speculated that he had been dealing with a deep depression. And when the truth came to light in the middle of the night, Scrappy called. The call ended, and Scrappy sat there with his phone shaking, feeling lost and broken beyond repair. That was the moment he made a decision that would send shockwaves through everyone who cared about him. The following morning, Scrappy's close friend and fellow rapper Diamond arrived at his home after receiving a series of concerning texts. And what she found sent chills down her spine. None other than Bambi, whose voice trembled as he spoke, his emotions raw and unfiltered. "I don't know how to do this without you," he admitted, his heart pounding in his chest. Was hardly conscious. His face was pale, his body was weak, and empty bottles were lying all over the floor. This was a haunting testament to his despair, and Diamond called 911 right away. Her hands were shaking as she pleaded for help, and paramedics arrived in a matter of minutes, rushing Scrappy to the hospital. The news spread almost immediately, and fans began flooding timelines with messages of hope and support for the music industry. And his friends and even his ex-partners came forward to show their love and concern. Scrappy lay unconscious, a machine constantly beeping his vitals. Mama D refused to leave his side, her hands clasped together, and she prayed under her breath, "Lord, don't take my baby." The pain of seeing her son in such a fragile state was unbearable. And as the hours went by, doctors worked non-stop to stabilize him. The tension in the air was suffocating everyone, waiting for an update or a sign that Scrappy would recover. Finally, there was movement, a slow blink and a faint whisper, and Scrappy was waking up. The room was filled with relief, but the battle was far from over. Scrappy's road to recovery would be long and difficult. The emotional wounds ran deep, and the pain of losing Bambi was still present, loomed over him like a dark cloud. But in that moment, surrounded by love and support, a glimmer of hope appeared. Maybe, just maybe, he could find his way back. Scrappy lay in his hospital bed, staring at the ceiling. His mind was a whirlwind of emotions. The weight of what had just happened settled in, and his near-death experience had shaken not only him, but everyone who loved him. His body felt weak and drained from the trauma, but the pain in his chest had nothing to do with the physical. Rather, it was his heart, broken beyond recognition, that hurt the most. Mama D sat next to him, holding his hand tightly, her eyes filled with relief and concern. "Baby, you scared me to death," she whispered, her voice thick with "What were you thinking, Scrappy?" I felt like I had nothing left. Tears were welling up in Mama D's eyes, but she quickly wiped them away. "Don't ever say that again. You have so much to live for. Look around you. Your family, friends, and fans all love you. You can't let this break you." However, it wasn't that easy. Scrappy had spent months trying to move on and rebuild himself after losing Bambi. No matter how hard he tried, the void remained. The door to this hospital room crept open, and to his surprise, Bambi entered. She appeared hesitant, almost nervous, but there was unquestionably sad in her eyes. "Scrappy, I heard what happened." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The tension was thick, years of love and pain hanging between them like an unspoken weight. And Scrappy swallowed hard, his voice barely above a whisper. "Why are you here?" Bambi sighed, stepping closer, "Because, despite everything, I still care about you, and I don't want to see you like this." A bitter chuckle escaped Scrappy's lips. "Caring about me won't change anything, Bambi. You moved on, and I don't know how to." Mama D cleared her throat, sensing the depth of the moment, and said, "If you care about him, help him. He needs to heal, and he can't do it alone." Bambi hesitated, then nodded. "I can't promise anything, but I can be here as a friend." It wasn't what Scrappy wanted, but perhaps it was what he needed, a chance to rebuild, not just for Bambi, but for himself. The road ahead was uncertain, filled with pain and healing. Today's heartbreaking story raises a lot of questions. Though, will Scrappy be able to start a new chapter in his life? Will he find a way to live without Bambi? Or will his heart always be stuck in this pain? Fans are still worried about the whole situation, and social media is flooded with prayers and support for him. What do you think? Will Scrappy find the strength to move forward? Or is there still hope for him and Bambi to reunite? Let us know in the comments below if you want to stay up to date on all the latest drama. On alerts to ensure you don't miss any stories.